In this session, we're going to talk about search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is part art, part science, partly because search engines try to keep secret the methods that they use to rank pages in their search results. There are as many opinions about how to do search engine optimization as there are experts to tell you those opinions. We're going to look at a very popular plugin for WordPress that enables you to set up some basic search engine optimization right within your administration panel. First, though, let's look at a few of the things that we're going to be working with. The site we're looking at here is a landscaping and custom pool installation company in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Those words I just used to describe this site are important words for search engine optimization because they're the kind of words that people are going to be using to look for this kind of service. I'd like to draw your attention to the tab for this site. Within it is the title for this site. This is called the site title, and it's different from what might be in your site masthead or something like that. This is a technical term. It actually is the site title. You can see it says Signature Outdoor Concepts, and then there is what's called a pipe or a vertical bar, and then there's nothing after it. The site title is very important in search engine optimization. Search engines pay attention to what's in the title because it describes everything that's inside the site. This particular title doesn't say anything at all about what's inside the site. It doesn't use any of the keywords about landscaping or pools or custom or any of that. So this is one of the things we're going to change. Down lower in the content is a paragraph describing this company. This paragraph is actually fairly well written for search engine optimization. It describes who they are, what they do, and where they are. One drawback to having it in a paragraph down lower in the page, though, is that there isn't any particular weight on these words. There isn't a reason for a search engine to look at these words and go, hey, look, these are important words. Now let's take a look at some search results, the way things stand right now, so we can get an idea of what we're looking for. This is a Google search for the company name. As you can see, it has wonderful results. It has the title, the URL, the description, some custom interior links, the address, a map, some photos, all that stuff. That's because there isn't another Signature Outdoor Concepts, so Google knows that this is exactly what we're looking for. However, take a look at the site title here. It's exactly what it was in the tab for the site. It looks a little funny and it's not very descriptive. Even the descriptive text right here doesn't say anything about landscaping or pools. These are the kinds of things that we're looking to change. If you try searching for some words that we would like to help you find this site, you'll note that they just aren't there. This is for custom pool. Another one for landscaping, and it's simply not there. So these are the things we're trying to change with a search engine optimization tool. So let's go take a look at what we have available. The first thing I want to point out is that right on the general settings page, there's an option to put in a tagline. This almost always gets included in your site title. So we're going to put one in right here. And now we will reload the home page, and you can see that the site title now says Signature Outdoor Concepts, Swimming Pools, Fireplaces, Outdoor Kitchens, Patios, and Landscaping in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's a much, much better title. But I need to show you something important about changing your site. If we go back to Google and we refresh this search, you'll note that the site title did not change here. That's because Google doesn't know that we changed our site yet. They crawl the site on a schedule, so our change won't appear until they recrawl it. Now it's possible to ask them to recrawl it right away, and we'll look at that later. Next, let's look at plugins. We're simply going to search for SEO. Remember what I told you about opinions about SEO? You'll note that there are 973 plugins returned in this search for SEO. The one I recommend is called WordPress SEO by Yoast. You'll note that as soon as it's installed, it offers to give you a tour. We'll start it real quick. All the tour does is go through the various pages available in the admin for the plugin and tell you a little bit about what they do. I'm going to skip the tour because I'm going to give you a little bit more elaborate tour than what the little pop-ups give you. This is what's called the dashboard for Yoast WordPress SEO, and there are many options here. There's the option to use the meta keywords tag. Meta tags were invented in the early days of the web and aren't used very much anymore, but can still be useful. You can disable the date and snippet preview for posts, and optionally you can disable the advanced part of the WordPress SEO meta box. We're going to leave those alone. WordPress SEO puts an SEO box on every single page and post, attachment, and content type in your whole site. This allows you to make very fine-grained custom tweaks to your SEO for a specific page. However, it's not necessarily appropriate for all of them. For example, the attachment type. This is where you upload pictures. It doesn't really apply, so we can just turn that right off there. Your contact form 7 page doesn't really need it, so we'll turn it off there as well. You can also optionally turn it off for custom taxonomies like categories and tags. Down here you have the option to put in your key for Google Webmaster Tools or Bing Webmaster Tools or the Alexa verification ID. Without this plugin, you would need to manually put those into your theme template files. This makes it easy to do. Next, we'll look at the titles page. There's an important tip here. In your theme, you must have a line like this. Almost every theme in the world has one. So unless you have something very custom or poorly written, you're going to be all right here. This page is for setting up templates for how you want information to be presented on different pages. I want to go right to the bottom and show you how to use the template tags. They're right here. If you put in this tag, it will print the date. This one gives you the title, site name, site description, etc. So for pages, what I would like is title and site name. So I'm going to copy this, go back to the top of the page, and I like it for post as well, so I'm going to put it there. I like the vertical bar, and then come back to the bottom and I will grab site name and paste it there. And I like that for page as well. Then there's an option for meta description as well. This would be that text underneath of the title on Google. We're going to leave that alone for right now. As you can see, you can set up templates for all the different types that you have. I'm just going to save what I have, and we'll go back and take a look and see how things changed. Let's look at the About Us page because it is a simple page. And there you can see it has the title, the vertical bar, and the site name. Let's go back and take a look at some other options. Under Indexation, there are options for dealing with what happens when a search engine indexes your site. There's an option here to hide the description of what each of the boxes does. So once you become accustomed to this page, you can just turn them all off and it becomes a much shorter page. We'll leave them on for now. Indexation rules allows you to turn off indexing for specific areas. This would make it so that Google doesn't know about those areas. There are various reasons you would not want Google to know about those areas. For example, author archives. It says here, by default, WordPress creates author archives for each user, usually available under author/username. If you have sufficient other archives, or yours is a one-person blog, there's no need, and you can best disable them or prevent search engines from indexing them. Our site fits that bill, so we're going to turn that right off. The same goes for date-based archives, but we want to leave the others the way they are. Then there's the archive settings. We can disable author archives. We want to do that. When search engines crawl your site, it's done with what's called a robot. There isn't actually a human being that goes and crawls through your site. They just write a script and it goes and takes care of it for them. Here are some settings for how robots experience your site. Then there's an area to clean up the head section. This is inside the HTML of your site. The top two things, RSD links and WLW manifest links, are good to have, but they can interfere with third-party content editors, such as using your iPad or Windows Live Writer or something. So you might want to turn these off. WordPress also includes short links for your content and RSS links. If you don't use them, you can turn them off and it'll make your page slightly faster. So we'll save these settings. Next, let's look at the social page. This primarily deals with Facebook's Open Graph. This is primarily useful for exchanging information between your site and your Facebook page. To really use this properly, you should go learn about Facebook's Open Graph. The next tab is XML sitemaps. These are particularly useful and important. I'm going to turn it on. An XML sitemap is a map of your site, just like it sounds. XML is a markup language that Google knows how to read. So this plugin will create a map of your site, saying here are all the pages and here's how they relate to each other. Google can then use this to crawl your site faster. Additionally, you'll note here that it says, after content publication, the plugin automatically pings Google and Bing. This means that it goes out and contacts them for you and says, hey, look, I have new content. You should come crawl me. Optionally, you can ping Yahoo and Ask.com as well. There are things you can exclude in your sitemap if you wish. I want to include project slides because they're already included in projects. I want to exclude my contact forms. I want to exclude my slideshows because they're already included in other pages. And then optionally you can exclude categories and tags, but we'll leave that. And now that's all set. Next is permalinks. Search engines pay attention to what is in the address bar of a given page. They get title information from that, and they can learn about the context of your site. In WordPress, you can look at all the posts in a given category. This plugin will optionally allow you to remove the word category from the address of that category. This is something you may or may not want to do. You may want Google to know that this is part of a category, but if you don't, you can take it right off. You can enforce a trailing slash on all category and tag URLs. This indicates to search engines that it is not a single page, it's an archive or directory. In WordPress, every attachment, like an image or a Word document or something, has its own WordPress page where you can view it directly. You may not want that. It may not make sense out of the context of the post that it's part of. So with this, we can redirect those pages to the parent URL. And then you have the option to clean up links that people make to your site from other sites. The recommendation here is to not use this. Here under Canonical Settings, you can force your site to use HTTPS, which would be the Secure Sockets layer, requiring that communication between the browser and server be encrypted. If you leave it to the default, then the server tries to figure out what's best. Next is internal links. Breadcrumbs are a list of links somewhere on the page that show where you are in the hierarchy of the pages. So for example, you click About and then Contact. There will be a list of links at the top that say Home, About, and Contact. It's an indication of where you are. Not all themes support breadcrumbs, but if yours does, this allows you to configure what they look like. If your theme does not support breadcrumbs, but you would really like to add them in, at the bottom of this is a little bit of PHP that you can paste into your theme to have breadcrumbs appear. Next, we'll look at RSS. RSS is a syndication model for publishing your content. It's commonly used in things like Google Reader and other news readers that people may use to follow your site. This page allows you to tweak the output of your RSS feed. For example, you can put some content before each post and some content after each post. A common scenario for this is to put an advertising link in the bottom of each post. Next, we'll look at Import and Export. This allows you to import and export settings. You can import settings from other SEO plugins into Yoast, and you can export your Yoast settings to save them for future use. And lastly, let's look at the Edit Files option. Every WordPress site has an htaccess file. There's actually a dot at the beginning of that. It's called a .htaccess file. This is a hidden file on your server that contains some server settings. This page allows you to edit that file. Be very, very careful with this. One wrong extra character or one character removed could bring down your entire site. Now that we've made some adjustments to our search engine optimization for this site, it seems like it should just magically make it appear better. But it doesn't actually work that way. Search engines now need to come crawl the site. Because we told the plugin to ping Google and Bing each time we add new content, they should come crawling quite quickly. But it's not immediate. You can't simply make changes, refresh your search page, and expect to see those changes take place. Search engine rankings take time to work properly, and trying to speed up the process by cheating can often have negative effects. So your best bet is to build a quality site with good text, follow some good standards, and let the search engines decide for themselves what ranking you should have.